next guest, he played and he toured with the great Chris Christopherson. And after this record, Chris Christopherson is going to be traveling to play for him because it's a big, big record. And it's Billy Swan with I Can Help. Welcome.
Okay, it'll do you good, let us hope. Talking Tech, your host here, Pccareman, and it is 9 PM UK time. This is the 20th of December 2014, and tonight we're going to be talking about a Raspberry Pi. So what you see in front of you there is an image of the Raspberry Pi. You have the Raspberry Pi A, the Raspberry Pi B, and the Raspberry Pi B Plus. Sorry, you had Model A Plus and Model B Plus. Now, this is not your fastest computer, okay? So it's roughly about 700 megahertz, and it's roughly this particular one that I got, the B Plus, is 500 and something of RAM memory. It also comes with an SD card, and the one I got again was 4 gigabytes. You can buy 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes. I do have a video already prepared for you, but I wanted to give you a rough demo of it too at the same time. Now I do have one here sitting in front of me, which I'll show you in a second. What you see in front of you at the minute is the B Plus. This is the one that I got. Now this has many advantages. As I say, it's not a super fast computer. It's an educational computer. You can do projects with it, and you can use a program called Scratch for learning for programming. It is designed for children as well to use. It's also designed to be used on an old television, the old analog TVs that you would throw out. Also, it does have a high definition port. On this particular one here, if you notice where the mouse is there, this B Plus has got 4 USB ports. The other one had only 2. So this is the difference between the B and the B Plus. The B had 2 USB ports, the B Plus has 4. Also the B Plus has an Ethernet connection built into it. Also, it has more pins. Now I'm not too sure about these, so I'm not going to cover, but I will do these on the next time we're doing a tech show, which will be in 2 weeks. I've only had the chance about a week to play with this, but I have been reading about it on the internet, and I have seen it over the years being used by other tech guys. On the older version, you had what they called an SD adapter, which set out basically, and it was clumsy. It set out somewhere at the bottom here, and it was clumsy. So they've designed the smaller version, okay, where you can put your 16 gigabyte or your 8 gigabyte or 4 gigabyte SD card in. Friends, I would recommend that you do get at least 8 gigabytes. It does take 4 gigabytes to run the multimedia center that you can use it. You can turn your TV into a multimedia center by using an open source program. and it takes at least 4 for to run that. Now I bought this as a kit, but I didn't buy the keyboard and the mouse. You can buy different kits where you can get the keyboard and the mouse for buy, or you can buy the keyboard and mouse separate. It also comes with a high definition port, which I'll show you in a minute. And it also comes with a connection for audio, and I believe they're using the Broadcom chipset. If I'm wrong, I'll be corrected. And I think it's 700 megahertz, so it's not going to be super fast. Okay, now it is based on a Linux distro, Raspberry Pi, and they do use the Debian version of Linux. You can buy them at the come pre-installed, the SD cards with Raspberry on it, and you will get what they call a noobs collection, where you have the choice of using a number of different operating systems. Hi, Laura, and welcome to the room. Okay, friends, so this is, for anybody that's missed it, it's like a mini computer. The SD card goes in here. Also, the power supply in the B Plus is plugged in here. It's something similar to a phone adapter that you would get for a mobile phone. There's quite a number of different things you can do with it. Some people use it to make robotic robots. Some use it for gaming. If you remember the Atari or the Commodore 64, the old Atari, we had the cartridges. Now, to learn the different commands for it, you can learn what they call the Linux terminal commands. And anybody that's been using Linux will know the different commands for updating your apps and stuff like that there. Okay, I can't see it. I'm watching the chat room, friends, but at the same time I'm trying to concentrate on this here. So this is a small motherboard. Here you will see the 4 USB adapters here on the side of it. Now, I want to show you this, and I'll show you the one that I have is the same. So that's your 4 USB adapters. The one before that, the B, I'd only got 2. They've also put an Ethernet connection here in this one. This is the other angle of it. Here you have your port for your high definition. If you've got a high definition lead. So if you've got one of the new televisions today that come with the high definition, of course you can buy different connectors nowadays where you can converters and stuff like that there. You can buy different leads nowadays, okay. That would be the audio. This particular one has also got audio built into it, and it will play videos in high definition. And that is the back of it there, where you would put your SD card in here. The other version, B, had a place here for the big adapter, and it was bulky, it sat out. So with this new B Plus, they have put the small SD card connector in the back of it. And we're back to square one. So let me go to the desktop here. Let me see if I can get this better screenshot. Okay, you can see my desktop here, so let me move this microphone slightly. And I apologise if you can't really see it too clear. Now, this particular one cost me roughly about $39.95. Be careful, friends. By right, you should not handle the what I would call the motherboard with your hands. You should use an anti-static, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chance myself, but don't do this yourself, okay? Because I don't want you blowing it. I'm going to hold it by the USB connections. And I'm going to try and give you a better view of it. If I can here. Okay, so it's something similar to what you've seen, okay? In fact, it's the same. Let me hold that tiny, right? So you'll notice here you have got 4 USB ports on an Ethernet port. if I turn it around this side here, you will see where you have a place to put your high definition port. And the very end one here, the smaller one, is your power connector. Okay, and that's all the size it is. As I said, this is about 700 megahertz, so it's not your fastest computer. Okay, but if you've got children at home, or you've got an old television, and you just want to browse the web, read your email, listen to some videos and music, this will do your job. Now, so what I decided to do was I bought a case for it. Okay, a wee plastic case, and basically you line it up for your USB ports and you set it in. Nice and easy. So don't be forcing anything, just take your time and set it in. Okay, it sits in like that. You do get a couple of wee screws with it that you can permanently fix it. And you also get a small case for it, or you can buy the clear cases. So there again, be careful when you're lining it up. I'm putting it on, okay. And it pushes down nice and easy. And that will basically protect it. Okay. On the back of it, you do have a place where you can hang it up, or you can glue tag it to the back of your TV or to the rope. And this is what it comes in. The Raspberry Pi, Model B Plus. 500, I think it is, on 512 megabytes. Okay, that's what that is. And it's got an, if I can hold this steady for you. Right, so that's the Raspberry Pi. Now let me see what it says here. It's got an 8 gigabyte Noobs edition, okay? 8 gigabyte Noobs edition. Okay, so it comes in that wee small box. With it you get an Ethernet connection lead, a power adapter, and you also get a high definition connector. Okay, that's what you get with it. I didn't need to open that one because I have a spare one. This is your power adapter, friends. It's something similar to a mobile phone adapter. Okay, now how do you connect it all up? Hopefully this will work and not blow up on us. Okay, on the side here you've got your power adapter on your high definition port. Okay, so we're going to put the power adapter on first. Now be careful, it only goes in one way to line it up. Okay, and I'm going to put it down, but I'm not just going to plug it in just yet. Next thing I'm going to do is, I do have a spare high definition lead connected to this TV. So let me get it. Okay, so basically it's going to go in at the side here. At the same side as the power adapter is. And you'll notice when you turn it up here, you can't go wrong, you just put it in. It only goes in the one way. So that's it now connected up to the TV. The next thing I need is a keyboard and a mouse. Okay, so I do have an old keyboard here, an old cheap one. So I do have an old keyboard here, USB keyboard you need. Okay, so I'm going to set that down here for the time being. We'll just set that over there. So what we do with a keyboard is, obviously we need a keyboard for it. Well, we've got 4 USB connectors here, so we'll put the keyboard in one of them. And we'll take our time. Okay, keyboard in. You don't have to go out and buy a real expensive keyboard unless you want to. A cheap one out of Tesco's, that one, this one over here cost me £10. So all we need now is a mouse. So I do have an old cheap USB mouse here. Now yes, friends, even though I use Linux, okay, and this is based on Devilmon Linux. Don't worry about learning the commands. You can do a lot of research on the internet, and you can type in the commands to install Flash and get your browser showing Flash on. But remember, it's not the fastest, okay? But there is a lot of things you can learn to do with it. So call me a newbie, I'm learning. So there again, USB mouse, going to the other USB port, that leaves 2 USB ports spare. Okay. Now I did plug an external hard drive USB into the top one. I did install the media center, and I was able to play music. Now the SD card for it with the Raspberry Pi logo, or the Raspberry logo on it, this one come with 4 gigs, okay? We adapter inside, so I have ordered a 16 gigabyte one, just to give me a wee bit more space. Which is going to cost me roughly about £12. So if you take the price of that and you take the price of keyboard and mouse, you're talking roughly £50. And there's a computer. Next thing I need is an Ethernet connection. Okay, so rather than use a small Ethernet connection that they give you, it's a very, very small one. It only goes about a couple of feet. Unless you've got you want to connect it to your TV beside your modem or your router that's downstairs. Well then, I like a bit of space, I like a bit of room, so I have a spare one. Okay. So, under here at this side you will have a place for your connection, your Ethernet connection. You also can use this to set up what they call a Wi-Fi router. Okay, and there's a lot of projects you can do with it, but to keep it simple and basic, we'll learn how to set it up and tune it in. Okay, so the next thing is it all connected as far as I can put on it. So what I'm going to do is plug in the Ethernet lead into an adapter I have down below me here. Okay, so we will have an Ethernet connection hopefully. The next thing I want to do is power it on. But before I power it on, I'll have to find out on my television. So let me go change the screen here. Okay, so I'm going to be using this particular screen to show you how to use it. I apologise, Nora, if I'm not answering your chat at the minute, just till I do this. So I'm going to go to on the remote control, I'm going to go to the source here. And I'm going to look for, I've got 3 high definition ports. I know my Apple TV is connected to one, but I'm not sure which this one is connected to because I didn't double check. Okay, so I'm going to select that for starters. I'm going to plug it in, the power adapter in off my Raspberry Pi, and hopefully it'll pick up a signal. So let me find one of these wires under here. If only you seen the cables that I have under here, you wouldn't believe it. I think I would need to. Okay, now on the Raspberry Pi itself, you will notice I want to hit the shift key quickly to show you something. Okay, so you'll notice the Raspberry Pi coming up there on the menu, and I know it's not 100% that you can actually see it, right? So you'll also have a small red light on the Raspberry Pi that will show you at the back of it that it's connected. So when you first start it up, now there's 2 ways of doing this. If you happen to get a SD card that doesn't come with a Raspberry operating system on it, you can go online to the Raspberry website and you can download one of the programs for the Raspberry, and you can use what they call a SD card image burner, and you can burn it to your SD card on your computer, and then you can set it up yourself on your Raspberry. So that's another way you can do it. Or you can buy it that it comes pre-installed with the new version 1.3.9, which was built in July 8th, 2014. So when you first load it up here, you will see that you have Raspberry recommended, which is a Devilmon Wheezy port optimizer and etc. Then you have one called Arch Linux. Below that you have Open ELEC Linux. Okay, so you've got a number here, a choice of going down them. So let me get the mouse for that. I'll bring it over here. Right. You also have Pandora, okay, which is a Fedora Linux based system. You've also got one called RISC OS, which is a very fast, compact system, okay. And there again you have the RASP BMC, which is an open source media player. So if you want to turn your TV and you want to use the Raspberry for a media center, it's quite simple, okay. Now, anytime your system's not going right, whenever it reboots, hit the shift key and it'll bring you back to here, okay. So for tonight's purpose, we're going to install the XBMC Media Center, and we're going to use this particular one as a media center. Okay, if I wanted to, I could install one of the Linux distros, and then I could go to the terminal and I could find out the command for putting in the flash player for the browser and etc. Or I could boot straight into the SCRATCH, which is a programming that you use for Raspberry, called Scratch, where a lot of kids would use it to learn programming, okay. So basically you take a small box here. Okay, so I'm going to set that. At the top you have install, and I click install. Warning, this will install the selected operating system, and basically it gives you a warning saying all existing data on the SD card will be overwritten, including any OS that are already installed. I'll click OK and give it permission. So it's going to go through the process basically of installing the media center for Linux, okay, which is powered by XBMC. Now, this particular one needs at least 4 gigs SD card to run. So that's why I've ordered the 16 gigabyte one. And basically it allows you to play your music and turn your small Raspberry Pi into a media center if you want. Or you could install the Linux version. Now you'll notice yourself, it takes a bit of while to install this. It's downloading and extracting all the file systems. So it's pretty simple to install the operating system. Now the default password for Raspberry and Pi is Pi and Raspberry, R-A-S-P-E-R, no hold on, it's wrong. Let me recrack that spelling with my box. So Raspberry Pi is the default password and username. That's exactly what it is. Okay. So it's R-A-S-P-B-E-R-R-Y and then P-I when it comes to the command line when it be installing the other operating system. Now you also can have it running in the GUI or the graphics. So if you're not really into the command or the terminal, or you've never used Unix before, then use the graphics until you get used to it. Then you can start going into the GUI, because that's basically what Arch Linux is based on. It also fully supports 1080p playback, and you can also install that the XBMC on Windows. I've done it before, but it's very, very slow. And it's simple to start up. If you've used Linux at all before, it's simple. If you've never used Linux and you're not too sure how to use it, you can go to YouTube and you can type in Raspberry Pi how to install. And a lot of people have put videos up on how to actually install it and how to put it together. That's the first time this week I've actually used one of these. Right? I've heard about them, and it hasn't really interested me, but I decided to stick it up to see what it was like and try it out and mess about with it. And as I said, it'll do my grandkids because they're coming up that age now. And it'll give them something to play about and learn now. It's based on for projects and stuff like that. And I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube where people have actually designed wee robots and stuff with them. People have designed Wi-Fi network routers and stuff by adding. You can buy stuff and add to them too, you know. So this is just the basics. Alright, ACCAD, Amalgamate. Okay friends, don't be afraid to type into the chat room. As I say, I only started to play about with this last week. It's not a super fast computer. So if you're looking at a super fast computer, hey, don't buy this. But if you're looking at something to mess about with and things like that there, or you just want something to browse the web and you've an old TV land there and you don't want to throw it out, why not grab yourselves a Raspberry Pi? You know what I mean? It'll give you something to experiment with and play about with. Because there's an old saying, if you play about with things and like everything else, you'll learn. So this is what we're talking about tonight. Let me stop that video, I don't want to play that just at the minute. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. The Raspberry Pi B+. You don't need to be a whiz kid to install it. Okay, now to play Flash, basically to load up your browser and to get a YouTube video, it won't work out of the box. You will have to go to the terminal, type in the command to install for Flash to work. If you're scared of doing that and you don't know how to do it, if you go to Google and type in how do I play Flash in my browser or Flash in my browser for the Raspberry Pi, there is hundreds of loads of links on how to do it. It's just a matter of sitting back, taking your time and learn. Because last week was the first time I actually connected one of these up. I had a good idea, obviously, how to put a motherboard on a computer and stuff like that, you know what I mean, so that'd probably help me too. Okay, you've got 4 USB ports, an Ethernet, an audio, an SD card, you put your SD card in. And if you don't want the hassle of going to the website to download the image, the operating system, which is simple, use a SD card image burner. And if your computer holds an SD card, put it in, you can burn the image to the SD card and you can do it that way. If you want the easiest way around, you can order the Noobs collection, okay? So just bear with us here. I think this is already installed. Hold on a second, friends. Okay, this is installed already. So I'm installing the XBM Media Center. Okay, so at the keyboard, okay, it'll reboot. Okay, you'll see the big R coming up there for Raspberry. And you will see, if you've noticed before, anybody that's used Linux, it'll say now, please wait a minute while Raspberry is set up. Step 1 of 2. Okay, so we're now on step 2. Just let it sit, okay? So if you want to turn an old TV into a media center, just a media center, an old TV that you have lying about the house for listening to your videos or something like that, then this is the ticket. If you want something to play about with and use a Linux operating system, then this is okay. Friends, but remember, it's not the fastest, okay? It is designed for education, for children and stuff like that too. If you've got children at home, well then, why not go for it? And there is plenty of beginner tutorials out on the internet where you can actually learn how to use it. And it does support high definition. It is running off a high definition TV. So I have turned it into the media center. Okay. Now to run the media center on it, this one here, which is an open source one, it does take at least 4 gigs. 4 gigs. Okay. Now it says it's the network and all's tagged it, and it gives the IP address of the network. Now it will ask you setting it up English. If you're English, of course, it's English. You can't play videos on it, pictures, music, programs, and you do have some settings in the system. But I'm going to make it simple for you. So I'm just going to wait here. Okay, so as I say, if you want it, I would recommend a 16 gigabyte SD card. So if you go to Amazon and type in the Raspberry Pi SD card 16 gigs, you will be able to get one with the operating system for noobs already installed. So let's go to videos. Okay. Now on the videos you have video add-ons. Okay, so let's go to video add-ons and get more. And it's now updating the TV DB update. Okay. So on the videos here you have Algeria. You know what I mean? You have let's see. I believe you have YouTube on it too, away down at the bottom. If you wanted to use it for watching YouTube videos. And when you put your mouse on the left, it'll bring up different documentation on the right here. This particular one is Revision 3, which is a tech podcast network. It's been out for a long time. You also can watch Twit TV on it if you're into technology. You've got Russia Today and stuff like that there. So if you don't want to turn it into a media center, you can use it for browsing the web by installing the Devilman operating system whenever you boot up. And any time your system's not going right, when it reboots and you touch the shift key, it'll automatically take you back to the start where you can restart and install the operating system all again. As I say, it's not super fast, but for the price, as I say, I've got YouTube on it here, and when you click for the add-ons, whether it's music or video, you click install. It's now downloading and installing the add-on for YouTube. Now don't forget, this is the media center. Okay, if you wanted to use it for VON TV, well then you would install from the start. I'm using it for the XBMC media player or media center. That's what I've set it up for. But I can install the Devilman operating system on it. It does give me that option at the start. Now if I wanted to put the Devilman system on it, Linux on it, all I have to do is unplug it, let it restart, hit the shift key, wipe the SD card and install the operating system. Okay, so that's YouTube installed. So if I go back here, back up, as I say friends, it's fast enough, you know. But if you're looking at a quad power processor, well then this isn't the ticket. But if you're looking something just to browse the web, watch a video in high definition, or have a spare media center in your bedroom or downstairs and you've got no TV, why throw it out? You also, on the right here, you can go back to home. And let's go back to videos. I have installed YouTube, so let me see a second now. I'm clicking on it here to see how it works. Okay, and there's a few settings. It will ask me for my username. So let me put in my YouTube details, what is Pccareman. Did it work? Let's see. Oh, the wrong keyboard. I've that many keyboards. I put the wrong one. Okay. Pccareman. Pccareman. And click OK. I'll get there, hold on. I've made a mistake there. And click OK. So show or browse YouTube, show YouTube live, or show YouTube music, or YouTube movies. Okay, let's click on movies here. And click OK. Now, search. I probably would have to sign in to actually get it to work. Let's see, let's type in Contra. And hit Contra. What do you think of Nighthawk? Nighthawk reader. I don't know, mate. I've never used one, to be honest. I've never used one. I would need to Google it up, mate, and I'd need to go into the details of it to see exactly what it is, what's built, what way it's built, you know. But honestly, I don't know nothing about it. Okay, so just to show you at this place. And what'll happen now is it'll start downloading or opening up a stream here. Now, it won't be the fastest, okay? And it says it's working here, so hold on. Okay, so there's a video playing in high definition. And that's from the Raspberry Pi, friends. What do you hear the music? That's class. Okay, so you also, that's just to let you know that it does play videos, okay? High definition videos, and it does play music. If you're connecting it up to the high definition on your TV on a newer model, it will give you your sound. Alright, yes, it will give you your sound, friends. As I say, if you want to spend $50 and you have an old computer down or even a spare new television down about you're not using, you want to use it as an operating system. Remember, it's only 700 megahertz. It's not super fast, and it only comes with 512 megabytes of memory. But you can run Linux distros on that. Alright, scroll back while I'm doing. So friends, for those that are just in, we're talking about the Raspberry Pi. Okay, not one you can eat. But we're talking about a Raspberry Pi. The latest model that brought out called B+. B+. And this is basically it here. Let me go back to the screen here. This is it basically here in front of you. This is what we're talking about tonight. It's got 4 USB ports, Ethernet, SD card holder, audio, processor, sound and all built in, and graphics built in, and your pins. At the side here, power lead. This particular one is designed to be very low on power. Something similar to a mobile phone. SD card goes in there. Audio. For the old TVs, the old audio or analog TVs. That's your 4 USB ports. Now of course you can always buy an external USB holder. Alright Josh? Scrumpy says XBMC is a media center control PGM, that's correct. That's correct. Is it USB 3? I think so, yes. I think it is. This is the B plus one, the latest one, I think it is. Probably not the B one that they had out before that. This is your power connector, high definition port. And that's the back of it. Now, the last version they had, there was what they call a micro SD card holder here, and it's set out. So they've put the smaller version in here. You just take out the wee card and put it in. Scrumpy says he installed a USB 3.0 card on his computer, and as it says, Y for gaming. Now, the Raspberry Pi, friends, is designed, as far as I know, for educational purposes. Some guys have built small robots with them, projects. If you've got children or you want to learn programming, you can start with a simple called Scratch. Okay, so that was the media center one that I showed you. Okay, now there's two ways of getting the operating system. Two ways of getting the operating system. One is you can buy the SD card with the operating system pre-installed. It's called a Noob's Startup Kit. Or you can go to the raspberrypi.com website where you can download the operating systems to your, save the image file. If your computer takes an SD card, you can put it in and use an SD card image burner. My hard drive that backs up, Scrumpy says, has 3.0 capability, much faster. Goes through that card. Yeah. You want a 7.1 audio. Right. So you can play games with it, but anybody that, I'm only 55, but anybody that used an Atari system many years ago with the old cartridges where you put the games into play. So we'll have an idea of something similar, you know. Hold on a second here, my webcams went dull there. Let me move the mouse. And where's the keyboard? I'll brighten it up a wee bit for you. So Raspberry and BMC installed with it, right? Dot says my Windows 10 closed the tab on me. Don't worry about that, mate. High definition 7.1 card, high definition 7.1 audio. I'll call you Acid because you've got such a long name. Now, I bought this out of Amazon, friends. Okay, I bought this out of Amazon. The motherboard come in that small box. Okay, anybody that's missed me connecting it up will see it in Von TV archives. Also, I'll be posting it to YouTube after the show between now and tomorrow. So it'll come in that small box. I got the one pre-installed. Now I do know how to burn an ISO image. I do know how to burn a SD card image by using a program. It's pretty simple to do. Most of us know how to do that. My Windows 10 close the top. Alright, Josh, Windows 10 is still sort of, you know, up and down at the minute. Yep. Right, so what I'm going to do now is the media center plays in high definition. Okay, so I'm going to unplug it. Let me go back to the desktop. Okay, this is a small box here. I have it set up. As I say, friends, it's not very big. Okay, Ethernet lead, high definition lead. High definition lead, power lead, mouse and keyboard. If you've got a spare USB mouse, it'll do you. If you've got a spare USB keyboard, it'll do you. Or if you've got a mouse that's got a USB converter, it'll do you. I just used a £10 keyboard. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to unplug it. Boom. Now let me go back to the screen. Right, you'll now see it unplugged. I'm now going to plug it back in. And I'm going to hit the shift key. Okay, I'm going to hit the shift key. That's your reboots. Hold on. Shift key. Now if I hit the shift key, it will take me back to the noobs version 1.3.9. So I'm going to install the operating system on it now. And I'm going to go for the Raspberry and recommend it. So I'm going to take the box. This one here is a Devilman, okay? Now, the browser works on it, friends, because I've tested it out during the week. The browser works. It's not very fast, but it works. But there again, I only have 4 GB SD card installed. I have ordered a 16 GB one. I'm not too sure if Raspberry and what the highest SD card you can get. So someone in the room could go ahead and Google for me what's the biggest size of a Raspberry Pi SD card and put it in the room. It'll be appreciated. All I have seen at the minute is a 16 GB one on Amazon. And I'm wondering if you could put a 64 SD card in, because I do use a 64 SD card in one of my Android devices. So I'm just curious if Raspberry Pi you can actually play put a 64 or even higher SD card in. I'm not sure exactly why there's any higher than the 64. Okay, so you'll see the menu in front here. So basically I'm just going to tick see now. I'm going to tick the top one here. I do have a number of operating systems. Now, this particular one I needed is 4342 megabytes. Available is 6023. Okay, I'm just going to click at the top left, install. It's going to ask me to want to wipe the card and overwrite it. Yes. Tell me the operating system. Detected the following OS and supported of Raspberry Pi and may fail to boot on function. Okay, yes. So we'll actually, hold on a second friends, I'm going to have to unplug it again because I'm going to install the same media center, so it'll not do any harm by doing that, believe it or not. You also can use a webcam on this or a camera. And you can buy extras for it. Okay, hit the shift key. So it's just loading that up. So hold on, I've got to untick that other one. So let me untick that BMC. And let me go back to the top here. And install the Raspberry and recommend it. Install. And yes. Okay, so it's now basically download and extract the file system. But there is a couple of wee things that you've got to do on this when it installs, okay? And it does take a bit of time. It's got to write 2241 megabytes. It can be a bit slow, it's not the fastest, okay? So don't be expecting a super fast computer because you're not going to get it. Okay, so that's going to go through the process, okay, of installing the operating system. It will take a bit of time, so obviously I don't want to bore you with all that, okay? I don't want to bore you with all that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the screen here. Okay, I'm going to change the screen and I'm going to basically get you another video on it. So let me stop this recording, okay? Don't forget, friends, for anybody that's listening in, this is for YouTube, Facebook, and anybody on TV that sees this video. Every 2 weeks on a Saturday at 9 PM UK time, talking technology, Pccareman. If you can come along, please do.